Welcome to War with a Mate with me, James.
Me, Andy.
The podcast where me and Andy practice kissing. Oh, it's a good one today. Lots of kisses. Lots of good lip work.
I've been really zeroing in on my tongue stuff.
I know, I've noticed. Well done. No, we're joking. This is the only thing that we have here is lip service for Richard Berg's creation, the campaign for North Africa. The best board game that is about the campaign for North Africa that simulates the whole thing.
That we're aware of.
That way, that we own at least.
Yeah.
And it's, wow, what a beautiful game as well. Look at it. Look at it in its frame. Elegant, majestic, complicated, frustrating.
A work of art.
But, I mean, we were talking about this. We missed it. We missed it this week.
Yeah, we had a bit of a delay between recordings and never thought I would, but I was like, oh, where's the campaign for North Africa?
I found myself longing for it.
Yeah.
What's going on there?
Stockholm Syndrome.
Yeah, we keep saying it, and oh, God, it's true.
Really kicking in.
It is.
I must say, it's making the experience more enjoyable.
What wanting to play it?
Having Stockholm Syndrome.
Yeah, it will do that by default.
Yeah. I guess that's what that's for.
That's why they made it. That's why they made Stockholm
That's why
Syndrome.
your brain does that.
To make the board game better.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, we've had a pretty decent day today.
Yeah.
It's been aircraft stuff.
Planes in the air.
Planes in the air. Fuck you, rainstorm. We actually got up there. Oh, someone's playing a little bit of a jam session next door by the sounds of it.
Okay, hope that doesn't show up.
I certainly hope it's not copyrighted music. Not allowed to have that. It won't show up. These mics aren't that good. They're just good enough to pick us up.
Thank God.
I'll edit it out. It'll just be white noise. That's what this is anyway.
Yeah. So we've both done some bombing?
We did. We planned out our air missions today, and then we carried out most of them.
Yes.
So the air missions were primarily bombing runs.
Yes. You bombed the 3rd Coldstream Guard.
I did, as a retribution for them attacking my guys. They did a number on the 1st Libyan Division.
And as a result, they got, I think we worked out based on an ammo point being 4 tons of explosives and ordnance, they had 1,200 tons of explosives dropped on what we worked out as 600 men.
Yeah, that's right. We managed to dish out, I managed to dish out 2 tons of ordnance per man.
Somehow, 1 tow point survived.
Yes, because they consisted of 6 tow points.
Yep.
Which is about, 100 men per tow point. And only 100 survived.
Which, I mean, kind of surprising.
Yeah, only 100 guys made it. It's, I mean, to be fair, with the amount of bombs I dropped, should have been all of them.
I mean, yeah. And then I bombed your Fort Magdalena.
You did. You bombed my airfield there.
Yeah, I sort of had a little look and I went, ooh, there's a lot of planes there. I'll bomb them. They were all out busy, but managed to damage the airfield.
Yeah, they were all out escorting my bombing runs, and you snuck in there, and you dropped some bombs. You dropped a lot of bombs, but you only took out 1 of the airfield capacity levels.
Yeah, my dismal dice rolling continues.
You had a potential to take out, I think, 4 levels?
4.
And you took out 1.
Yeah.
And the airfield has a max capacity of 6.
Yeah.
And the capacity relates to how many squadrons can operate from there. It was full, 6 SGSUs, 6 squadrons, and now 1 of them can't function. 1 of them won't be able to do what they need to. But having said that, I don't think there'd be a situation for a long time where all 6 would be ready to go at any given time.
Yeah.
So it's not too bad for me, but they are really costly to repair, those levels. It's 20 store points and 10 fuel points.
Yeah.
It only takes 1 upstage to amend that damage, but it's still... The resource commitment I'm going to have to put into that it's not nothing.
No. And also, you can't, swap them out.
No.
You can't, get everyone ready and then be like, this is the inactive SGSU now.
Yeah, it's just a hard limit on how many you can have operate.
Yeah.
So I'm going to have to fix that at some point, just in case I need full capacity. But I'm not too worried. I think all in all, me decimating the 3rd Coldstream Guards and you taking out a little bit of my capacity, I can live with that. I can sleep well tonight.
Yeah, I think you got the best of that trade. And then the last thing we ran up to, did things slightly out of order because next session, air combat.
Next time we're going to be... Because I had 2 bombing runs. You had 1 mission.
Yeah.
It was solely committed to taking out that airfield. And it, again, had underwhelming results,
Limited
if I do
success.
say so myself. And my 2 bombing runs, one on the Coldstream Guards and one on a portion of road.
Yes, along the north coast, in a bit of rough terrain.
Yes, right next to Mercer Matru.
Yeah, which could really mess up my supply lines pretty badly.
But you have scrambled some of your fighters to try and tackle this.
Yes.
And we've had a look at the numbers. We've revealed to each other what air force we've committed. And I've committed 25 fighters. You've committed 19?
Yes. Gladiators and I think Boheim? I can't remember. Off the top
I
of
think
my-
Hurricanes and something else you've got.
Yeah. It might be Hurricanes and the Gladiators.
It is, yes.
Yes.
Yes, Hurricanes and Gladiators.
Yeah. The Gladiators are sort of they're my most numerous plane at the minute. The Hurricanes are better, though. So there's 15 of them going to scramble to intercept, and 4 of the Hurricanes.
Yes. So it's and some of your Hurricanes are a lot more maneuverable and have a better TAC air score than my fighters, but your Gladiators are worse. So I outnumber you, but you've still got a few guys in there that might be able to cinch this win.
Yeah.
And if so, I'm going to have a weaker air force.
That's the hope.
And my hope was to lure your planes out so I could try and fight them, because I thought I would really outnumber you, but it's not really that far out. I was hoping I'd have 2-1.
Yeah, that I would have probably not. I would have aborted the scramble mission, maybe if I'd known. But if I'd been that outnumbered.
Yes, it was. Yeah, I think it's fairly evenly matched. I think it can go one way or the other with this.
Yeah, I think it might come down to pilots and dice rolls, but it's not going to be like one person. I think it feels pretty even.
Yeah, which will be fun to see how the dogfight actually plays out.
Yeah.
Because we've got the fighters in there. It'll hopefully build a little bit of immersive storytelling, or emergent storytelling, when we figure out how these pilots do.
Yeah.
How many kills they get, how many of them are aces, and how many of them just don't make it home.
I think that's going to be a lot of them.
I think it's going to be a lot of yours.
Oh.
And probably quite a few of mine as well. So that's coming up next time. That'll be a hell of a lot of fun. And my bombing run will go off, and there's a very high chance that I destroy that portion of road.
Yeah, I think the only way it doesn't get destroyed is if I break your fighter screen and destroy a bunch of bombers before.
Yes, but even if you don't and all my bombs drop, there is still a small chance that I don't destroy the road. I think there's 4 die results that can result. 5 die results.
They can, yeah.
That can. Oh no, it's 6. It's 11 to 16. So there's 6 results in which I fail to destroy that road. But if I'm successful, then it works out well. And there's a reason I picked road instead of railroad.
Oh, go on.
Railroad is a lot easier to repair than road.
Oh, is it?
For railroad, you just need a unit with engineering capacity, and it's something like a single store point or something crazy.
Right.
Whereas road is, you need to have a specific type of engineering unit, and it's a lot more costly.
Right, yeah.
So you need more stores. So that's why I went for road.
Yeah.
Railroad would break a decent line of travel for you, but I think you'd fix it real quick.
Yeah, well, so I guess the railroad's pretty specialist. It's limited to 2 stacking points per turn.
Yeah.
Whereas the road is all my trucks, my big divisions moving up from Alexandria.
Yeah, everything.
Yeah.
I was tempted to try and cut off your 4th Indian division,
Yes.
but I ended up going behind them and bombing it behind. I figured, we'll let them come through. I'll just take them out the old-fashioned way by failing to hit them with barrages and then missing them in close quarters combat as well.
A classic.
Yeah, that's how it goes. But I've enjoyed it. The bombing mission weren't as complicated to figure out as I thought they'd be.
Actually, very simple. It's just how many bombing points do you have, and then a table.
Yeah.
Which is pretty much everything.
It all boils down to a simple
Yeah.
table. It's just figuring out how you roll on that table and all the stuff that affects it before that point. That's where it gets complicated. But all in all, not really that bad. And then the dogfight should be, again, straightforward in their individual essence. It's just a case of having to go through the sheer volume of these fighters. 25 on 19. It'll be fun to see how it plays out.
Yeah, I am looking forward to it because it seems one of the more dynamic almost, or more, there's opportunity for, as you say, a bit of narrative building where we can get fighter races and stuff.
Yeah, we can have pilots that stand out, and we can follow their journey through the campaign, which will be a lot of fun. I want to see who stands out, what historical figures we concoct ourselves.
Yeah.
We're talking about giving some of them names if they do particularly well.
Yeah, which will be good. I was surprised by how effective the bombing on the Coldstream Guard was. I know you dropped a lot of bombs, but
396.
Yeah, but when I was sort of looking at the table, I thought that was one of the less effective options you can have for bombing.
Bombing ground units.
Yeah.
Yeah. If you go for roads, for example, you're a lot more likely to destroy roads because it's binary. It's either you destroy them or you don't. Whereas with ground units, it takes off a certain amount of tow points. But once you've committed a certain amount of bombs, there's no longer a chance to miss. You at least get one. And I pushed my bombs, the amount of bombs, the sheer volume, meant that the minimum I would have done is 4, up to a maximum of 6.
Yeah.
And I ended up getting 5.
Yeah.
So smack bang in the middle. But the die roll, it was still in the upper echelon of the die rolls that I needed to get. And it worked out. It worked a charm. That's what they get for messing with my Libyans.
Yeah. And I might not be able to retreat them because we need to double check, but I think they might be pinned as a result of the bombing.
We do have to check, yes, because the bombardment... I mean, there's only one tow point left. I'd be shocked if that didn't mean they're pinned. I would expect them to be pinned. So I've took out a good portion of those guys.
And I think if they're pinned, they can't retreat.
If they're pinned, I don't think they can, yeah.
Which means there's just one tow point of guys waiting, essentially, to be captured at best.
If it's any consolation, I don't think I'm going to go for them.
Oh.
Being candid, I don't think that's going to happen.
Are you just happy to sort of make them ineffective and let them sort of run around?
Well, at this point, I'm thinking, are you really going to commit them to a fight? Because...
Charge of the Light Brigade? Charge of the third stream?
Yeah, I don't think you should do that. I think you should just send them off home.
No.
Send them packing.
So, don't know why that gets any credit.
What?
The Charge of the Light Brigade.
Yeah.
It gets presented as heroic. It just seems like a suicide thing.
Well, it is.
Yeah.
That's exactly what it is. It's hoping that you get some sort of result from it, but it is more or less a suicide run. I nearly went for one of your supply dumps.
I was thinking about supply dump bombing as well. The reason I didn't is because they're relatively quick to set back up.
Relatively quick to set back up, and also the tables, you need to commit a lot of bombs to really hit something significant. 75% is the most you can do, and for that you need to commit, I think it's essentially the highest number of bombs, the highest bracket of bombs.
Which are 4...
I think it might be 471.
No, yeah, I think you're right.
471 plus, and even then, you still need to roll, I think it's 61 to 66 in order to take off 75%.
Although I am fit, because I actually couldn't get into the... Because I used all my bombers that are fitted at the minute on my run and got 381.
Yes.
So that's a sort of sense of how much bombing
I split
is
mine.
required for...
With mine, I split it, and I had 396 on the Coldstream Guards, and I had 207, I think it was, on the road.
Yeah.
And that's not all my bombs, either.
Oh, yeah. Did you not launch everything that was fitted?
No, I didn't. No, I kept some back, knowing that there was a chance that they could all be intercepted and things could go completely askew.
Yeah.
And also, some of them were fighter bombers, and I didn't want to use those yet. I want to maybe read over a little bit as to how best to use them, and I didn't want to commit everything for the sake of it. I wanted to keep them back and figure out if there's a more niche way. I also wanted to see how effective the bombing actually plays out, and it turns out very, if you commit the right stuff. But I want to have a look at dive bombing and strafing. I want to see if I can take out some of your supply lines, cause some real havoc on those trucks.
Because there's also planes that can bomb and strafe at the same time. They unload their bombs and then strafe run.
Yes. So I want to have a look at that. Yeah. So I've kept some back.
And no night missions from you for us, I don't think.
No, I've got the capacity to do night missions, but I don't think I want to do that just yet. With this being the practice run, I wanted to do it sort of sequentially and almost have a go at every little bit piecemeal, and then have a solid idea, maybe going into turn 2 or 3 even, and figure out how it looks when it's all working in concert.
Yeah.
But I'm very pleased with that, because that was surprisingly fun.
Yeah.
And the dogfights, I think, will be unsurprisingly fun. I think the dogfights are just going to be a great time, and it's the thing I've been most looking forward to through this whole setup. That and Barrage. I've really loved Barrage for some reason. There's just something about that really, really tickles my pickle.
Yeah, I think that Barrage is adds a nice bit of depth to what might otherwise be quite a flat combat system.
Yeah, it allowing your units to pin other units beforehand. It gives that immediate threat of you're committing a lot of forces, but they could get shut down before the fight even starts.
Yeah, and you're committing forces, but if you use your artillery well and like pin their infantry, then suddenly their armor is completely ineffective.
And if we've learned anything from your history segments, it's that it just takes pot luck for war to turn and completely change, even if the numbers are on your side.
Yes, a bit of paperwork getting lost in a file clerk's room for a week changes the fate of the world.
Which is how I like to see those rules manifesting in my head, where it's just someone's decision or indecision has then caused a complete shift in the outcome of that battle.
Yeah. Or like when we get to the plane bit, it's like, oh, a guy got a really good night's sleep, so he's killed 3 other planes. Like,
yeah, I mean, you've took out 2 of my planes that were on the ground.
Yes,
and it'll be fun to see how stuff like that manifests. Where maybe I've got a plane or a pilot who's done particularly well, and I think I'm going to assign them to their own sort of plane. It says you don't have to keep them assigned to a specific plane, but I think where I can, I'll try and do that just to keep a bit of a through line, bit of a story.
Yeah, like the Ace has his favourite
craft.
Yeah.
And it'll be fun to see if that gets bombed at some point in the future, and then we've lost this thing that's been causing havoc throughout the war.
It'll also be interesting because they require time to retrain on different planes.
Yes,
so there might be a point where we get to where it's like, he's in a shitty plane, but he's like a level 5 pilot, so you don't want to spend the time and have him out of action for like, I think it's 2 turns.
I think it is, yeah.
To like train him to use a new type of plane. So you've got a bunch of like state-of-the-art stuff, and then like the Red Baron.
Well, yeah, because I got some good planes later on. Some of the German crafts.
Messerschmitts, I think, are your like best ones.
Yeah, so when we play the full campaign and we get the German, well, I get the Germans. It'll be interesting to see if I start, because you can't swap the Italians to the Germans.
No.
So they sort of are immiscible forces. So they can't move around. But it'll be fun to see if we get, say, a fighter pilot who's really, really proficient in a less effective craft, and then weighing up the gambit of, do I swap him to one of the really good planes, take him out of action a little bit, but now he's in this hell machine.
Yeah.
Is that worth the cost? If a pilot gets good enough, maybe it is. So I'm excited for all of that to emerge. I think that, more than anything else, will have a real sense of satisfaction for me when that plays out. Excited for that. Very excited for that.
But positive feelings of the game overall still.
We missed the fucking thing.
Yeah.
We were longing to play it. Something's gone horribly right.
I think it's gone from like going through rules on the first, like setting everything up, just felt like interminable.
Yeah.
And like, is this forever? Is this the full 1,500 hours? Like,
not
our
understanding
experience of the first 30.
I mean, if you were to sit back and listen to the first sort of 9 or so episodes, we're having a great time, but it's not because of the game.
No, we're not talking about the game at all.
If anything, we're sort of like, nauseous about the idea of playing the game and just psyching ourselves up to do it. And then there's a period where we're setting the game up and trying to figure out how we'll play it. And now that we're playing it, I'm actually finding myself enjoying it and thinking now how to beat you rather than how to actually play the game.
Yes,
in the physical, logistical sense.
Stuff down, yeah.
So that's been a fun transition, and I'm wondering if it's going to have an ebb and flow of in 5 months' time where we're now sick of the game again.
Yeah,
and then it'll perk back up.
I feel like we also might get the alternating at certain points where it's like, oh, you've destroyed like an entire thing with a lucky roll. Or like vice versa, and one of us was like, this game is bullshit, and the other one's like, I actually think it's kind of good.
I mean, I would have had a very different feel, I think, at the moment if you took out most of that airfield.
Yeah.
Because then I'd be thinking, right, that's a source of most of my fighters are in that area. So if they are now hamstrung and can't start launching from there, my air superiority, which is boasted by the Italians during that period, is no longer a thing.
Yeah, that's what I was going for with that attack, because I noticed they're all...
There's a lot of SGSUs in
so if I
Fort
can take
Magdalena.
them out, it won't knock everything out, but fighters have much more limited range.
Yes.
So you either need to move them forwards and expose them, or they're just less effective if they're flying off maps like A or B.
And Fort Magdalena, I think, is tied for my most eastern airfield.
Yeah.
Which means that if I push them any further back, it's really going to start limiting who they can screen on bombing runs.
Yeah.
Because the bombers have a way better range, but if I'm not attaching fighters to them, then they go near your airfields, which I did with the bombing run on Mercer Matru.
Yeah.
If I don't have fighters to protect them, I don't really think I'm going to risk my huge swathes of bombers if I know that they're going to get absolutely torn apart by your fighters.
Yeah.
It's just not really worth that risk. So I'm gonna have to measure that up, and it'll all be based on next week's dogfight.
Yeah.
That will determine a lot of how that pans out. Pans out? Panzer? Hey, there it is. Bit of wordplay. They love it.
Almost.
Well, if you force it, it sounds like wordplay.
There you go.
That's how all good artists go. You just got to force it. Don't worry about the groove. Don't find yourself in there. Just make it happen.
Just keep bashing your head against the wall.
Yeah, just tell people it's happening, and maybe some of them will believe you, maybe some of them won't. But I suppose, is there anything else that you've got to say about today?
No, fun session. Enjoyed the air rules. Relatively simple, and we didn't run into any rule stuff or confusing addenda.
Yeah, we actually had a pretty straight run of rule checks. There were like 4 or 5 things we had to check for the bombing runs, how they work.
We did a bit of flak and anti-air.
Oh, we did. Sorry, yes, we did. My garrison at Fort Magdalena had 1 rating for anti-air, and you multiply that by the tow, which is it's only 2 tow of anti-air in Fort Magdalena, which meant I had the lowest roll on the table, and I had a very small chance to destroy your fighters. It was a 65 or 66 on the dice.
Yeah,
would have done that, and I got, I think it was like 30 something.
Yeah.
So it didn't pan out, but it was good to give it a go. Used a bit of ammunition in the process, and I'll also now have to commit some stores with my trucks this op stage if I want that airfield to be back up and ship shape.
Yeah.
So another thing, actually, come to think of it, is now that we've actually used the fighters, the bombers, all the aircraft, we'll be able to see how costly it is to refit them.
Yes.
And how fully stocked our airfields are, how often we'll be able to do that without fueling them again.
I do, now you mention that is a bit of a panic I've had where I've got a pretty nice supply route sorted, but it's not really taking into account airfields.
Yeah, neither is mine. My blind panic was all about getting food to people.
Yeah.
So now that I've got that pinned down, I think I'm feeling a little bit anxious because my air superiority falls apart if the planes can't fucking take off.
Yeah.
But I'm excited to try and cross that bridge now that I'm more or less at it.
Oh yeah.
But overall, yeah, air combat, I'm in the space that I was most excited for, and when that wraps up, which I think next week we'll probably wrap it up.
I think it will get through the dogfight, and probably not much more, just because it'll be the first time checking rules and conferring and doing it for the first time. Because it's each plane fights 1-to-1, so we'll be doing 22 dogfights.
It'll be the most rolls we've done in a single play session by
more
far.
Than everything we've rolled so far, probably.
Yeah, combined. Comfortably, come to think of it. So, very hyped for that. And then after that, the rest of the op stage. So movement, combat, trucks, lather, rinse, repeat.
Yeah.
It's really not feeling as overwhelming as it did. Now it just feels like a very, very long road, but it doesn't feel like one that we can't navigate.
Yeah, it is an actual road. It's not.
Yeah, it's a road. It's not just open desert.
Yeah.
We're with a long-range desert group.
Oh, I wish.
Yeah, we can compare ourselves to them. I think that's a fair comparison.
Yeah, we're equally brave.
Well, think what they did. They in their spare time committed to trying to explore the desert and make it a viable area to traverse.
Yeah.
And we're doing the same with this game. No one's played the game to completion. No one's going to think it can be done.
And who knows how this will weirdly synchronicity means this applies to a war in 10 years.
Yeah, when war breaks out and we're out there and we go, hang on a minute, so this is just the campaign for North Africa, which I suppose the parallel for that would be the actual campaign for North Africa, the war that we're playing the game of. So hopefully that doesn't happen. I don't want to fight in the desert. I don't want to fight at all, really.
We'll be fighting in the water wars, but it may not be in the desert.
That's true. The great resource war that's coming.
Yes.
I'll be interested to see how that pans out. We'll be as thirsty as the men on my side of the map.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not looking forward to that.
No.
But hey, needs must.
Well, to brighter things, eh?
To brighter things. Maybe we'll check the mailbox, because I can hear that telegram blaring away in my ear.
That always cheers us up.
It does. Nice bit of upbeat correspondence, and I'm seeing the email that we've got here. We've got an email from Nicholas, titled "An Email." Hi there. Hi there. Let me just say, this may be the worst, least thought out, terrible podcast I've ever listened to.
Thanks, Nick.
And yet, I can't help but root for you to finish the game. All 100 and whatever turns. Started listening from the first episode. Good place to start. Just about to finish episode 14. This is generally a heroic feat for the ages, and you will be immortal heroes if you actually finish a game. I wish you willpower to finish and patience to avoid offing one another. Godspeed, you magnificent bastards. Subtly, bravely, and humbly, Nicholas. Well, Nicholas, you really had us in the first half there. I thought we received our first bit of hate mail. That would have been brutal. We're on high, and then we just got taken down a peg. Especially, to be fair, if the guy's listening from start and he's only up to episode 14, we've only just started to find our feet then. Well, we're not rambling.
I was actually, I think 15 is where we were like, we'll put some segments and some structure in. So it's like, you went, episode 1's a good place to start. If you're recommending the podcast for someone with a low tolerance for nonsense,
then don't listen.
15's probably a good place to start.
Yeah, 15 is where we actually became a little bit more coherent and started to treat this as a podcast about a board game rather than just an open mic to talk about anything that we want to, unrelated, whether it's Bin Weevils or Michael McIntyre. I'm not sure, Nicholas, because clearly you've come into this with a little bit of cheekiness. You say here, this is generally a heroic feat, and I do have to correct you on that. I think you mean genuinely. And I bring this up in...
He's clearly done this to you.
Well, it's only episode 18 that I bring that up, I think.
Oh, is it?
My gripes about the English language being abused. So, Nicholas, when you get to that, and when you get to this especially, bone to pick with you. That's right. Not letting that one go. But, as I say, you had us in that first half, but it turned round, and we thank you for the encouragement, because even though we're starting to enjoy the game, it's nice to know that people are going through that experience of hearing us terrified and angry, mostly me, angry, all the way to this serenity that we found here. So we will have that willpower to finish, and I don't think we're even that angry at each other yet, because the stakes are still fairly low for the scenario.
It's just a Kinder Bueno.
It's just a Kinder Bueno. But when the full game rolls around, then the gloves are off.
Oh, yeah.
It becomes real hectic. It becomes an actual war.
I'm going to stop talking to you outside the game after that.
Oh, yeah. I'm not going to be talking to you.
Over.
Yeah, I'm not playing D&D anymore.
It's on a short hiatus till we finish the game.
A brief hiatus. Yeah. We can play it in the afterlife. That sounds like a good idea. Well, thanks, Nick.
Yeah.
And next up, you've got one there from... it's a repeat mail.
Oh, yeah, this one's from Sean.
And the subject is the poncho guy is back with an actual question. Oh, you started a movement, Sean.
Oh, there we go. Hey, fellas. I'm still listening and still loving the show. Do you all foresee yourselves diving into any other war games now that you're all certified war gamers?
2 y'alls. Love it. Thank you.
Thank you. There's plenty out there that are really cool and a lot more accessible that won't drain the life out of you. Also, Andy, as a D&D player, you should know to toss those traitorous dice in dice jail and grab a new set to improve your terrible rolls. Keep on fucking those trucks, boys. Thanks for the email, Sean. Just to address the traitorous dice issue first, I would love to do that, but this game that comes with 16,000 pieces, 5 maps, and 7 rulebooks, and lasts 1,500 hours for 10 players, has 3 dice in the box, and only 1 big one. And we said we were going to do it with the dice from the box, which means I have no options. I can't jail the dice as much as I want to.
Yeah, we're trying to keep it as close to the actual game as possible. The verisimilitude needs to be maintained, and yeah, we get 3 dice. And there's a little point of contention here, because I've been everywhere I've been looking up stuff about the game, people seem to be referring to it having a single 6-sided die, which can't be right. because it actually says in the rulebook that it contains 2.
Yeah.
But we've got 3.
Yeah.
And the thing is, it's not like whoever we've bought this from, because the game is fully packaged original. The only thing that came additional was some printed out addenda from 2007.
Yeah.
But the fact there's 3 dice, but they're all uniform. They're all the same dice.
I wonder if some boxes got 1 dice and some boxes got 3 dice, and they were meant to have 2.
You know what? I wouldn't be shocked. I wouldn't be shocked if somewhere along the production line the dice fell off. And then people were just randomly throwing them into the boxes haphazardly, and some got more, some got less, some got none.
Yeah.
So we're trying to commit to it, which is why Andy's cursed.
Yeah. But yeah, I'd love to jail them, but can't.
You have a dice jail as well.
I have a dice jail and a dice dunce chair.
You do. Yeah, you've got lots of dice-related accessories because you've
ways
had
of punishing my dice.
you've had a history of bad dice rolls in D&D sometimes. So
yeah.
So we've also got a shit ton of dice. I've got a full. It's like a Ziploc.
It's like a
handbag.
makeup bag.
And it's like a makeup bag. Yeah, and it's full to the brim of dice.
Yeah.
You've got
a coffin full of dice.
Yes, you've got a little coffin. I've also got a sort of like a cardboard treasure chest full of dice. We've got so many dice for D&D, styled differently. Some that I think are inherently lucky and blessed, and some that are cursed.
There's definitely a couple, but
we can't use them.
Yeah.
We can't. And I guess back to the main point, Sean, about would we dive into any of the war games? I guess first and foremost, we're a little busy. We're a little bit preoccupied with this one. And also, we don't have an interest, so to speak, in war games. So before this, we weren't thinking, well, let's jump into a war game. This one looks hard.
yeah, this wasn't how do we get into war games that we've messed up. But I don't know, we might play some side stuff at some point down the line to help maintain our sanity, but it'll be this as the primary thing throughout.
Well, we've got a few waxings of additional projects which are under development, which we might look at rolling out sometime in the future. Just some stuff that's adjacent to it. Try to add a little bit to our repertoire. And also amongst that, another thing, I suppose, to update now, merch. I'm still looking at getting that perfected because we designed some. People were asking about it. We put together the designs. We found a place that will produce them, but the shipping is just absolutely egregious.
It was like double the price of the items, which is outrageous.
Yeah, it was like we brought down the pricing to the minimum that the store would allow us, but the shipping was just so egregious. You'd be paying, it was something like, I think it worked like $4.50 for a mug, but then the shipping was like $25.
I remember one of them, it was like 27 quid for a jumper and then 34 quid for the shipping.
Yeah.
Which feels bad. So we're slowly working towards a solution for you guys.
Yes, we are delving into that. We just don't want to be shilling out something that you have to pay an arm and a leg for just to get it there. So yeah, we've got that. We've got some other bits and pieces in the works. But when it comes to other war games, I unfortunately think when it comes to anything of this scale, not that there is anything else to this scale, we'll probably be sticking with the campaign for North Africa. But other board games, who knows? We might.
You've wanted to play a round of Risky Rats at some point.
Rap Rat.
That's
yeah,
it.
I want to play Rap Rat. Ever since Cam Sandwich popped out in this tournament, I've loved the idea of playing that. So maybe not war games, but we will be delving into some other games. But I'm sure there are much better, a lot more fun war games to play out there. And yeah, we'll look into them and maybe discuss them a little bit, but I don't think we've got the time to play them. We're just we're just too busy.
And it took us long enough to get this one down.
Yeah. To be fair, when we found out about it, we really dived in.
The last thing I need is to be like, oh, I'm going to do this, and then it to be like, oh no, that's a rule from like the War in the Pacific or some other game.
Oh god,
can you
imagine?
Can't handle it.
Oh, the cross-game confusion would be insane. And also, I can imagine as well getting the pieces mixed up at some point as well.
Yeah.
So, unfortunately, I don't think that will happen. However, we are very happy to hear from you again, Sean, and I hope that you've managed to talk your partner around into allowing you to wear a poncho. Because, I mean, they're beautiful. Poncho Day is on the way, remember?
Yep, next year. No, 2 years.
I think 2 years from now.
I think it's 2027.
Yes, I'll have to double check on my calendar.
Yes.
But, yeah, keep your eye out for that. So, as always, some grand correspondence. If you want to send any in, info@warwithamate.co.uk. And we've also got an Instagram, which is War with a Mate. Fire a message on there. We also take carrier pigeon. And if you do a smoke signal, we might catch it if it's during recording. And anyone who can communicate telepathically through dreams,
Don't
do that. That's kind of fucking weird. That's sort of breaking the parasocial wall. I don't think you're allowed to do that. No. We're not that close. So don't go in my dreams.
Bad fandom.
Well, thank you all, and I suppose now it's time to travel back again. And I've got no idea what you've got in store for me for the history this week in Andy's History Corner.
Oh.
But I'm excited. Lay it on me, what we got.
We're moving from Libyan Sands, obscure book I ended up reading, to the Long Range Desert Group themselves, who I intended to do several weeks ago.
Okay.
Before I got distracted.
I mean, it was a relevant distraction.
Yeah. So, starts off with a quote. "The problem is to make yourself so much master over the appalling difficulties of nature, heat, thirst, cold, rain, fatigue, that overcoming these, you yet have physical energy and mental resilience to deal with the greater objective, winning the war."
That feels very apt.
Yes, a quote from an unnamed member of the Long Range Desert Group.
We've got to keep them secret.
Yeah. And I hadn't told you this yet, but their unofficial motto, I'm not going to do the Latin, but it's not by strength, but by guile.
Oh, I like that a lot.
Yes.
That very much fits their jam.
Yes. So, this is a bit of an overview of their activities, not necessarily in chronological order, but just to give you a sense of it. First off, it was a very unique unit at the time for a multitude of reasons, but one of them is the Commonwealth at this time organised units by the country of origin.
Right.
So, like, I've got the Indian division, the South Africans, Australians, they would all be separate.
Okay.
And in very rare cases, a British officer would be in charge of those colonial units, but even that was quite rare. Whereas, in contrast, the Long Range Desert Group ended up being made of New Zealanders, South Africans, Indians, and Brits. So it was a bit of a melting pot of a unit compared to the rest of the British Army at the time.
Right, so they just mix and match depending on who was best suited.
Yeah, so it started off with New Zealanders, and then they brought in Brits and South African and Rhodesians, and then Indians. So yeah, it's another unique element of it. One of their primary missions, though, is something called the Road Watch.
Okay.
So in November 1941, they move to Siwa as their base of operations.
Ah, the Oasis.
Yeah.
I know it well.
And from there, the entire time they're in Siwa, they would watch the road between Tripoli and Benghazi, which is 1,100 kilometers of deep desert away from Siwa.
Yeah, I mean, on the map, they are the other ends of one another. One is the very top of the map, one is the very bottom head.
Yeah, and one's the very edge of, I think, D, and one's A.
Yes, yeah.
So they do this in free rotations. So a patrol would go out there, which would take 10 days. They'd relieve a group and have a 10-day watch on the road, and then be relieved after 10 days and make the 10-day journey back to Siwa. So at any one time, there were 3 patrols
somewhere out there
as part of this rotation. So they'd get there. This is 5 miles from the Marble Arch.
Okay, so yeah, very far over.
Yeah. And they'd hide their vehicles a couple of miles from the site of the watch, and then each day before dawn, 2 guys would, like, sneakily make their way camouflage towards the road, I think within a couple hundred meters.
So very close then, relative.
And they'd watch the road and make note of any units, like vehicles moving down, supplies, and they'd stay there all day making notes of it and radio them back. So the Allies knew everything coming out of Tunisia and Tripoli towards Benghazi.
Okay.
They had eyes on it all.
Which I guess makes sense as to why you get to see my movements, because you've got eyes, realistically, the whole time.
Yeah. And at night, they'd move closer to within 30 meters of the road and continue observation, identifying vehicles by their silhouettes or the noise of the engines.
Oh, God. So impressive.
Yeah. One of the long range desert group describes being on that watch as you'd look at your watch at 11 p.m., you'd look at it again 4 hours later, and it would be 11:15. It's just... But shockingly, despite close calls, including once where the Germans made camp around the two guys who were hiding there at night.
Oh, God, that's scary.
Despite all of this, in the 3 years they were running this, they didn't lose a single man or vehicle, either to the desert or the Germans. I'm
not sure which is the one I'm more impressed that they managed to evade death at the hands of.
It's insane that they manage it. But things didn't always go right for the Long Range Desert Group.
Of course.
On New Year's Eve, 1941, a patrol ran into the auto safari unit of the Italians, who were a similar idea, although less effective. They ran into in the Gelb Shelf Valley. One long-range desert groupman was killed. 3 were captured and 3 of their trucks were destroyed. The Italians lost 5. 3 were wounded and 1 truck was abandoned. And the long-range desert group patrol lost their rations, headgear, and footwear in the initial attack.
Losing footwear seems like maybe the most damning part of that.
Oh, yeah, because the vehicles were fucked. So the 4 survivors of the long-range desert group set off on foot with a 2-gallon container of water and a jam of jar between them, intending to walk 290 miles to the nearest Allied camp through the desert. Led by a guy called Ronald Joseph Moore, who was a Kiwi, and 3 other guardsmen, John Easton, Alexander Winchester, and Alfred Teague. They ended up having to leave Alfred Teague behind on the 5th day after he convinced them to leave, because he was suffering internal injuries.
Oh, God.
So they leave him behind with his share of water, but they didn't realize at the time the container he used was poisoned the water, so he couldn't drink that water.
Oh, God.
Yeah. So the other 3 continue. The next day, they get caught in a sandstorm.
Oh.
They do find shelter, but there's no food or water there, only motor oil. So they bathe their feet in motor oil to toughen them up.
God, that's so metal.
Yeah, and then continue on the next day. Now, at this point, Teague is continuing just much slower, and he arrives at this shelter, which again, no food or water. But he does light a fire to keep warm, and just complete chance a French patrol sees it. And so he gets picked up.
Oh, God. I was going to say, how do they know this happened? Because this man dies, I presume, but gets saved.
Yeah. And then he tells them about the other guys, and French planes go looking for them, but they lose there's no tracks because of the sandstorm, so it's just they're east of here somewhere.
Yeah, needle in a haystack.
Yeah. A plane does miraculously spot them and drops food and a bottle of lemonade for them.
Bit of Schweppes.
They don't see the food, and when the bottle hits the ground, the cork bounces out and all but half an inch of the lemonade disappears into the sand.
No.
So they're somehow still going. On the 12th day, John and Alex, over the course of the day, collapse into the sand. Moore keeps going. The sort of agreement seems to be we're not going to slow anyone down.
It is a case of some men left behind.
Yeah. So they've gone 210 miles across desert with limited water, a jar of jam, and a little bit of lemonade. So eventually they get found, and this is where this gets crazy to me. John Easton that I mentioned?
Yeah.
He did that march with a bullet wound in his throat.
Oh, what?
Yeah. They rescue him. They manage to give him a few drops of sweetened tea, which he gets down. He comments, "I don't usually take sugar with my tea," with a smile, and dies shortly afterwards.
Oh, just metal lines.
It's like something from a film where you'd go, that's not believable.
Yeah, some incredible last words there.
They find Alex Winchester next, semi-delirious, but he's able to make a full recovery. Moore had continued on further ahead. He waved at the rescuers as they approached, but continued walking. He was described as clear-headed and normal, despite the shrapnel in his foot, which he'd done that walk on.
How?
I don't know.
What's wrong with these people?
But he had shrapnel in his foot. And then he's described, when they rescue him, as he's said to have been slightly annoyed to have been stopped so close to his objective because he believed himself capable of doing the remaining walk.
I believe him. I 100% believe him.
He suffered no ill effects afterwards.
What do you mean no ill effect? The man's got shrapnel on his foot and he's just walked. He's barefoot as well.
Yeah, because they lost all their footgear.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So he's barefoot with shrapnel in.
Yeah.
I mean, the sand getting in there, that must be...
Yeah.
Just, I mean, being uncomfortable is probably the least thing. They don't need to worry about being uncomfortable. Of course they're uncomfortable. But it's just, I can't fathom that.
He walked, and he was annoyed when he got picked up. He's like, you've ruined my, challenge to myself.
I mean, I kind of get that. Like, if you got that far, it's like, well, I want to do the last bit as well. But, I mean, I 100% believe him. He could have done it.
Oh, yeah. And he got the Distinguished Conduct Medal for that, of course, and was mentioned in dispatches.
Of course.
Yeah.
The man's a fucking legend.
Because I found a Libyan newspaper... not a Libyan. A newspaper from Australia that was describing all this. And it's just... all of it is so casual about what happened. Just the fact he's like, no, I'm going to keep going, and he's annoyed, and it's insane. So that's some of the guys in the long-range desert group, and that's a fuck-up of theirs.
Yeah, that's them having a fuck-up, but then turning around and going, right, well, I guess now we walk it off in the most literal sense possible.
Yeah, that quote about, mastering the elements to continue fighting a war, they're just living that,
That doesn't even sound like mastering the elements, though. That's just fuck the elements, we're walking instead.
Yeah.
Barefoot with shrapnel in the desert.
Yeah.
Because during the day as well, I mean, that sand's got to be fucking toasty.
Oh, yeah.
So I wonder if maybe that helps. Is that maybe calluses over the wounds, or...
I don't know. And the fact one of them did 12 days with a bullet wound in his neck.
But yeah, he had a little bit of lemonade, so, he's all good.
Just insane. So yeah, I'll do a bit about their raiding and stuff next time, but that's just a bit more of a characterizing the long-range desert group.
I think I respect the long-range desert group now too much to try and engage them in combat. Not that I can really engage them in combat in the game.
Yeah.
But I sort of...
don't.
I revere them to the point where I don't really want to try and tackle them, because they're just too scary and too impressive.
I mean, I'd never heard of them before this game. It's now 100% clear why they have their own rules.
Yeah, they're borderline unbelievable.
Yeah.
They sound like a made-up group.
I mean, and some of the stuff they get up to in the raids is insane. But, I
mean, that's what they get up to when things go bad and they have to walk back.
Yeah.
With a bloody bullet wound in his throat as well.
It's just incredible.
But you've got that, and then you've got, it was Monty as well, wasn't it, who got shot in the lung.
Yeah.
These people, it's one of those things where I just presume, if I got shot in a non-vital area and I was out there, I'd probably be like, right, I'm dead. I'm gonna have to just give up here.
I'm certainly trying to go home.
Yeah, I'm over.
Yeah.
And if someone shows up to rescue me, I think my pride completely dissolves on sight, and I just get in the car.
Yeah, I'm certainly not annoyed.
But the thing is, as well, it describes him as being clear-headed. This isn't some guy who's suffering the delusions of heat stroke or something. This is a guy who set off to get back and was nearly there. Just let me go. It's like those people in marathons who they get towards the end, they're just, you see them sort of falling over, but they power on through. I guess it's that, but dialed up to 11.
Yeah, it's just complete mind over body.
It's crazy how many insanely impressive people.
Yeah, and I've just been looking at one small things so far, really. Like, we did the Graziani and the Monty, and then I looked at the long range desert group, and then it's like, oh, Rolf Bagnall, and then Moore here, and it's like, this is one tiny group relative to the overall.
Yeah, and I get that these are a particularly impressive
Like an
group in
elite
general,
unit,
but even so, it
Yeah.
just really does not. It boggles the brain.
I mean, yeah.
Part of the fun of this as well is learning about the people behind the game, not in terms of Richard Berg, the people who the pieces represent.
Oh, yeah.
So finding out more about that, I've got no doubt that there's probably some incredible stories between every single unit in there, but it's just a case of how many of them are documented.
Yeah, and how well we can get to. But it just seems to be anywhere you dig a bit, it's a rich vein.
Yeah, the desert is vast and it has many treasures buried in it. Outstanding. Oh, I'm sort of in awe at these people, but they are going to cause real havoc for me, so I need to temper that a little bit. I need to remember that.
Yeah.
It's not all good. It's not all good for James.
Not for you.
Not for poor James.
I'm excited to get them moving.
I'm excited to run away from them. I'm excited for Rommel to show up and roadrunner his way around them all.
Because it also, when I was reading it, I was like, oh, cool, they've got like an invisibility thing. The thing you don't think of is the range.
Yeah, the sheer distance.
They need to supply once a turn. In theory, they can do that 6 upstages apart, which, after what we've learned about them traveling the desert, makes sense.
Yeah, give them a little drab of lemonade and they're fine.
Yeah, they've made a thing so their radiator refills itself.
Yeah, all you need to do is give them a drab of lemonade, blow their foot off, take away their shoes, shoot them in the throat, and they're on their way.
Oh, also, just the losses for that raid as well, by the way. The Italians took more severe losses there. They triggered the ambush.
Imagine ambushing a group and they just walk off afterwards.
Yeah.
But they've got no shoes and we've shot some of them. Yeah, they're actually making it out.
Yeah.
Terrifying people. I don't think I'm equipped for tackling any of it.
No.
Well, the fear, it's here. The fear's here, but there's a way to get past it, Andy.
Yeah, we can get some common ground.
Common ground. And now for something nicer. A little oasis in the war. It's time for some common ground. I'm trying the intro for common ground. I'm recording it. Maybe.
Yeah.
Oh, I love that. Love that sweet jazz.
Yeah.
Do you like jazz, Andy?
No, I think it's racket.
Yeah, I know you do. We had an extensive conversation yesterday about jazz.
Yeah.
I want to take you to a jazz club and you don't want to go.
I mean, that is the crux of it, yes.
You are going to come to that jazz club with me. You and I were going to sit there in our suits. We're going to be smoking our cigars, listening to jazz.
And be asked to leave.
I clearly don't understand what the jazz audience is consistent of.
No, because it's not guys with cigars and suits. It's old people.
Yeah. Well, old people are allowed to wear suits. Are you discriminate? Are you ageist?
I guess they're
You're
actually
fashion
also
ageist?
more likely to wear suits to go out.
Yeah, I think that's a trendy style. Is that what your common ground is? That old people can't wear suits?
No.
All right. Well, let's hear what it is.
Okay, I've got a plan to help the BBC out.
Okay. Is it that we take over all of their radio channels?
Not quite.
Okay, then I'm going to be confused.
So people are paying their TV license less and less now because basically it's 170 quid a year for a substandard streaming service equivalent.
Oh, I guess for context for anyone who's not in the UK, which a lot of you aren't, from what I understand, in the UK you pay a TV license, which is a monthly or annual fee. It's what is it, like £110 a year?
Something. It's a lot
And,
relative to what you kind of get.
And it essentially just allows you to watch. If you watch live television in the UK, you need to pay for a TV license, and if you watch any BBC programs, whether it's live or not, then you have to pay this license fee. Otherwise, they send round ineffective bailiffs to your door.
Two has to come in and you tell them to piss off.
Yeah, they'll come to your door if you don't pay, and they'll ask if they can come in to see if you're watching live television. I really don't understand how
anyone gets caught by that.
I don't understand how the BBC has the money to hire these people to show up at your door to ask if they can come in to see if you're watching television, I guess, there and then.
Yeah.
I don't know how they ever catch anyone out.
No. So this is a plan to help them make money and help with some programming.
All right, maybe we can fix it then.
Okay. So it's a raffle. I'm thinking maybe 20 quid per ticket.
Okay.
There's
pricey.
6 winners per year.
Okay.
They get 8 episodes of TV that they can do anything they want with to produce and put out.
Oh, they get to make television.
So you win the raffle, you can do a quiz show, you can have a crack at putting a drama on, and you get 8-hour slots to put them out in. And just random people from the public get a chance to put stuff on there.
Common ground over, yes.
Oh,
this is
sweet.
absolutely right up my street.
Oh, cool.
This is exactly, Andy, this is exactly the kind of hijinks I want.
Okay.
This is what I want from the world.
Okay.
I want raffles where I get to make television.
Yeah, so
Or at
you'd
least-
buy the raffle, wouldn't you?
Oh, fuck yes.
Yeah.
1,000 times yes.
Yeah.
You know what I could do with 6 episodes of television? You know how much time I could waste?
6 hours.
Oh, I would churn out such unadulterated crap. It would be insane.
So what are you doing with, say you win the raffle then?
Oh god, my mind's swimming. Oh, you said quiz. I want to do a quiz show, but it's going to be like bad. It's just going to be really shit. It's going to be just the most obscure trivia, and the prizes are going to be just bad. Oh yeah, I'm talking. You're winning a holiday, but it's like a bad holiday. Or you win like a sheep. Or like an animal you really can't care for, so you have to give it to like a place that can care for it.
Okay.
The questions aren't fair. Oh yeah, quiz shows up there. I want to make a drama,
Which I also want to see people put their
passion projects.
Their passion projects just up on, and I reckon they get a bit of help. They get like a producer and a like cinematographer guy. So there's a bit of a team for each winner. And then you can have a sort of, they're like when they're in the house and the X Factor and stuff.
Yes.
So you get the winners have their program, and then you've got a separate sort of reality TV program about people who are completely unequipped for it, trying to make a primetime TV show.
Which is kind of what the BBC already is.
Yeah.
I want everything to be... I'm going to make a bunch of dramas that are just really, really close to infringing on existing IP.
Of course, yeah.
I just want to find existing dramas that are beloved, and I want to create a. I don't know if you've actually you might have seen this. I think we might have watched videos about this because The In-Betweeners is a fantastic British sitcom.
Yeah.
Is it a sitcom? Yeah, it's a sitcom.
Yeah, definitely.
And the US remake of that
is
maligned, and
Yeah.
I've watched. It's just really bad. It's objectively crap.
Yeah.
Because you've got some like the US Office, which. It's a spin on a UK television show which ended up becoming its own thing in its own right, boomed, very successful. I want to make more US In-Betweeners. I want to find beloved shows.
And ruin them.
And it won't be branded the exact same, but people will know it's a clone. And
Yeah.
they'll get really, really angry. But I won the fucking raffle, so I'm
Well,
allowed
I'd
to
say
do
that I'll add this in as well, because I'm just tweaking the raffle now because I've already got you.
Hook, line, and
You
sinker.
can resurrect any BBC property that's not been touched in 20 years. So you couldn't do Doctor Who, but if there's something... Do you want to bring back Bamzuki?
I want
You
to
can bring back that.
Actually, I was gonna say Black Books, which is an incredible sitcom, but I think that's just because I want more of that program.
Yeah.
Because that's a great show. But I don't. No, I would actually just ruin that. That's beloved. Yeah. I absolutely love that program. I'm not going to touch that.
Okay.
Can we make a rule that you can't touch that?
Okay, yeah. There's the raffle, but you can't do Black Books.
Yeah, Black Books is off. It's off the
Yeah.
books. It's off the books completely. If you do that, you're in my Black Books. What kind of quiz show would we put together?
Oh, are we going in on a raffle ticket?
Well, I presume you're splitting it 50-50 with me, aren't you? The price?
Yeah, so we get 4 episodes each of Disjointed.
That's so much better. Oh,
But it's episode 1, 3, 5, and 7 on mine. You have 2, and they're just completely separate.
That's actually a better way to do it, come to think of it. We so for this raffle, the people who win, they don't get them consecutively. It's 8 random people's episodes, and the BBC then has to figure out how to create a season of television with these 8 disjointed ideas.
It's like when they fold the bit of paper and you have to draw the horse or something across the... Like you pass it a lot round.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's the Chinese whispers of putting together a television show.
I reckon that just solves the BBC's fun. Most people, but it's expensive compared to like a lottery ticket or something, but you are getting a TV show out of it.
My mind is just going to be a buzz all night now with what I would do with this. And I know it's not real, but I am going to fantasize about this for months on end.
And hey, if the BBC want to nick that as an idea, we can talk.
Yeah.
Get in touch at Info1 for me.
I mean, what else could you do with that? The Can Bandits, maybe that.
The what?
Can Bandits. It's going to be a television program. It's a drama. It's like a thriller drama, and it's about the Can Bandits.
Yeah. What are they?
So,
Can bandits?
Yeah. So they're a fictional race of people. They're like a species. They're like little like goblin people.
Okay.
And they go around and they infest cans with different things. So like sometimes they'll put they'll swap like soft drinks into the wrong cans, and sometimes they'll put like bugs and stuff in them.
Oh, okay.
And it's just going to be sort of like high octane action. They're getting all sorts of scrapes and capers,
and then it cuts to prank show type footage of someone drinking a can with whatever they've put in it in the animated section.
Yeah, but it's not real.
No.
Obviously, it's all fictional. But it is like a thriller.
Yeah.
Because then the government have to figure out how to get rid of the Can Bandits.
Yeah.
So I think episode 1 we're going to cast Kiefer Sutherland as the chief Can Bandit.
You can reach out. The BBC will help you get Keith.
Yeah, Kiefer Sutherland's got a band as well, so they can do the soundtrack.
Well, you're bringing Keith into your project pretty heavily.
It's Kiefer.
Yeah. Oh.
Kiefer Sutherland. That's his name.
Okay. Apologies, Kiefer.
Don't call him Keith. You know,
Keith Sullivan. Sounds like a snooker player.
Well, historically, the Can Bandits are not fond of snooker.
It's not going to be one of the episodes with Can Bandits.
Yeah, they are. They're big billiards fan. They don't talk about snooker to the Can Bandits.
Yeah. And I guess another advantage of this is it shows people what genuinely bad TV looks like compared to what they're complaining about.
Yeah, the BBC churns out some absolute crap sometimes, but then you've got some real gems. Broadchurch, that's fantastic.
Yeah.
Really love that programme. I would love to see more of that. But again...
Maybe one of the raffle winners nails it and they get an actual TV show.
That would be good. I just think the thing is, this falls into the trap of everything. Like you mentioned, X Factor. That's a big issue, because the X Factor, when that was around, it tends to be the case that you get these people who win. They get a Christmas #1. They get a record deal, and it tends to be the runner-ups.
Well, here's the
more
thing.
Successful.
They're the showrunner on the show, so it's not really a vehicle for personal fame, because you're just going to be produced by.
That's a good point.
Like, how many producers do you know the name of? So it's not like a fame clout chasing thing.
I mean, yeah, to be honest, the only producer that immediately sprung to mind is a man who's...
criminal.
Yeah, so we both thought of the same guy. And he's not... Yeah, the thing he's most famous for is not being a producer of things.
Yeah.
Apart from just abhorrent crimes. So yeah, I think you're right there. You get that little bit of anonymity as well.
Yeah.
Actually, that's a good point. You don't get the credit for it.
Yeah, this isn't a vehicle for personal fame or to get Instagram followers or something.
Yeah, this is just to get the Can Bandits out on the airwaves.
Yeah, you've just got a project. Because I feel like quite a lot of people have an idea and are like, how the fuck do I get this to someone? Enter the raffle.
Well, that's it. That's what we could do then. We get the raffle going, and then it's stardom from there for the actors, for the cast, the crew, and you just slide into the anonymity, and you get that satisfaction when you go to bed.
Yeah.
Close your eyes and close those peepers and have a good night's sleep. And that's what I need, Andy. I need a good night's sleep, because I haven't had one in a good week.
You seem a little tired.
I am. I've been very tired. I don't know what I'm talking about with the Can Bandits. I mean, I'm sure it's going to be art, but I don't know where the fuck. That's just silliness. It feels like silliness for silliness' sake, and that's not what this should be. Common Ground should be. It's a serious directive on how to bring us together and fix the world. And I'm very sorry. I'm officially foreclosing on the Can Bandits. It's been cancelled. So sorry, everyone. We're gonna have to call Can Bandits there. And coincidentally, we're also going to have to call the episode there. That's actually it. We're going to have to cut it there because I need my beauty sleep. Because being really good at this board game isn't enough. I need to be beautiful as well. So I need my beauty sleep. But Andy, you're already a beautiful man.
Thanks.
So you don't need that. You can stay up all night.
Yay!
Well, I guess that's it. What an anticlimax. We started strong, and now I'm just done.
Okay. Well, stay subtle, humble, and brave, guys.
Yeah.
See you next week.
Yeah.
Please, War with a Mate on Instagram.
Yeah, it's War with a Mate on Instagram, and it's info@warwithamate.co.uk. And don't send us hate mail, please. Break my little heart. Yeah, you know the drill. Subtle, humble, and brave. Fuck the trucks. Get those ponchos out. Stay safe in the deserts of your mind. Good night.
See you next week.